Hey everyone, Britta Albert here. If this is your first time here, I'm a spiritual transformational life coach. It's my goal for this channel to help you overcome the obstacles that are standing in the way of you living your best and most authentic life. And today I want to talk about the difference between surrendering and giving up. Now to start things off, I want to give you a quote by Rumi. Rumi says, "Surrender to the beloved and let the beloved dance you. Get surprised by whatever dance moves come and get drunk in love." That is one of the most beautiful quotes I have heard. And what is that saying? Essentially, it's saying when you surrender to life and the beauty that it offers, you surrender to Source, Spirit, God, and you allow any and everything to come into your life without judgment, you'll be surprised by the way that life moves you, the dance moves, if you will, and get drunk in love. Experience things from a point of view and a place of joy, gratefulness, and bliss. And that is surrender. Surrender to me equals peace. When we surrender, we are accepting things as they are with no judgment and not trying to change them unless we feel a call to do so. Unless we feel that passion inside us, our guidance system, if you will, that drives us in one direction or another. So as life comes to you, recognizing that the challenges, the pain, are lessons meant to sharpen you, plans to prosper you, not to destroy you, then you can surrender to your truth and understand that you are safe. Ultimately, in the grand scheme of everything, you are safe. You are eternal. You are safe. When we simply give up, what we're doing is we're not surrendering. It's not like you're waving the white flag and saying, okay, I'm done with this life. I'm done dealing with this crap. I'm over it. No. It's not a war surrender. This life is not a war. It can feel like it. Sure as hell can feel like a battlefield. But it's not a war. This life is an adventure. This life is an experience. So when I'm talking about surrendering, I'm not talking about waving the white flag. That's giving up. Giving up is when you decide you're not going to try anymore. Giving up could be you closing the door on a situation that isn't over yet, but you're over it. You're done with it. You don't want it. And you have free will. Every lesson that we learn, if we are communicating to the universe that we still want to learn that lesson, don't worry. It'll come back around again. You'll get another try. I promise. That might sound silly. It might sound funny. But at the end of the day, giving up is when you decide that you're going to quit, whatever it is. It usually does not come from a place of peace. Now, you can surrender into the truth when you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're trying to go somewhere that is not for your best interest. It's not for your betterment. It's not going to give you the life that you want, and those doors are closed for you for a reason. Now, you can surrender in the acknowledgement that that's not your path. But when you are in a place where you're even able to surrender, you're generally at a place where you're being more honest with yourself anyway. So it's easier to distinguish between when you should surrender and walk away versus getting frustrated and just closing it because you're just done with it and you don't want to deal with it. I know for me, one of the biggest things that I struggled with surrendering was surrendering my fear. And I'm still on this journey. I'll give you an example. I'm currently challenging myself with the fear of flying. I didn't say I am afraid of flying. I will say I'm currently challenging myself with this fear. Because I understand, and I'm speaking truth into myself, that that's not who I am. I, Britta, am not afraid to fly. That's not the end all be all of who I am. I used to love flying. I had no problem with it. Then I had children and chemicals went in my brain and postpartum depression and all the weird stuff that happens when your body goes through pregnancy. And if you guys have already seen my near-death experience video, you'll kind of understand the weird stuff going on in my body. It changed certain things and it triggered certain things within my body. So I know that I have no experience to justify that kind of fear. I have no interaction personally, nor with any person that I personally know who has had any kind of issue to make me feel the way that I would feel when it comes to flying. So I could accept that that is my truth and never fly anywhere again. Or I can understand that this is something that I am challenging myself with. I'm getting an opportunity to develop myself further and an opportunity to continue to heal. Instead, I will surrender when I'm sitting in that spot. And it's a little bit easier because what else am I going to do? I'm there. I am seated in a plane. I'm flying. What else am I going to do but surrender? But I could choose to not surrender. I could choose to give in to panic attacks. I could cry. I could scream. I could cause them to have an emergency landing and probably get myself arrested. I do have choice. I don't have to choose to surrender on an airplane. But when I surrender to, I'm not surrendering to the fear. Let me be very clear. I'm not surrendering to my fear, and I'm not surrendering to the thoughts I'm telling myself that my ego is telling me about what's going to happen with me on that plane. I'm not. That's not what I'm surrendering to. I'm surrendering to the knowledge and the understanding that I am divine and I am held and I am safe. And although my body may have physical reactions, with my mind, I am surrendering, understanding that I am eternal and I am loved. And if it is my time, then it is my time. But I do not believe that that would be my fate because of how I feel about it, unless I had an agreement towards it. Which again, you can go back to my near-death experience video for that one. So when I surrender, again, just to recap, I'm not surrendering to the fear. I'm not surrendering to the thoughts. I'm surrendering to divinity. I'm surrendering and accepting where I am. And I'm grounding myself in the moment. This is really how. How do you surrender in the times where you're in the midst of it? When you're in the midst of anxiety, you're in the midst of fear. You become very present. You get present in the moment. And I've said this in other videos. How do I personally get present? I get present by being very literal. And I will breathe. And if I can't, most of the time when it's really bad, I cannot just come into my breath. I cannot just put my hands over my heart and breathe into my heart space and feel connected with everybody in the world. When I'm in the midst of it, the last thing I want to do is focus on my breath because I'm going to feel like I can't breathe. I'm going to feel like I'm hyperventilating. So what do? Well, in the situation of me being on a plane, I will touch the tray and I will say, this tray is real. And I will touch my seat and my arms and tell myself, these arms on this seat are real. The leather or the fabric on this seat is real. And I will look around and I will look at the flight attendants and I will look at their body language, their face, and see, if they're smiling and they're talking to people, and I will say, look, they do this for their job. They understand what's going on. Their smiles are real. I am on a plane. This plane is real. And then when I do that enough, and I look at enough things, I can look at, if I'm still in it, I can look at my shoes, I can look at any jewelry I might have, I don't recommend looking at my phone because It's a very, very brief distraction, but it doesn't actually ground me. It's just a momentary distraction, and then when I come out of it, it's like an instant shock to my body. I almost want to jolt, and I realize where I am, and I can't focus, and I go back into that hyperventilating. Calm. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I smell? What do things feel like? If they're bringing the drinks around and the middle, they don't do peanuts anymore, but the pretzel things or whatever they give. What do they taste like? What's the sensation? I'll usually get ginger ale to kind of calm my stomach when I'm on a flight. What do the bubbles feel like in my mouth? These little things that we take for granted when we're not in a situation of fear. These little things are what keep me grounded and help me become very present in this now moment. Then when I start to calm down, then I can say to myself, this plane is in the air. There may be turbulence, there may not be turbulence, but the plane is in the air and it's still moving forward. And I remind myself that it's not going down. Right now, it's moving forward. That's all that it's doing. And then now, in this next now moment, right now, it's still moving forward. And in the next moment, right now, it's still moving forward. And I have to be very gentle with myself, very forgiving with myself as I talk myself through these things that keep me grounded into my body. Because what I'm trying to do is my psyche, my I don't know a better word to really call it right now. My psyche is almost like it's trying to jump out of my skin. It's trying to get out of my body because it doesn't feel safe in my body. It's like my ego doesn't believe that it's safe within this human vessel that is my body. So it's trying to almost get out of my form. And it's like a tug of war between my mind and my body. So when I become really present, it's like I settle back in to my body. My spirit is calm, and I'm settling back into presence, into myself. And then finally, I settle back into breath. And I recognize that all those things are true. And I surrender to the fact that I'm on a plane. And I surrender to the fact that it's going to be several hours. And by surrendering this one time, does it get me through the entire flight? No. If it's a shorter flight, probably. But if it's a cross-country flight, it might take a couple times for me to do this again. I don't fly often enough for me to have worked up to not have to do this at all. But I no longer take medication when I fly. I used to have to take Xanax just to be able to cope. I have some horror stories for that, why I got off of that. But that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about surrendering versus giving up. If I wanted to give up, well, number one, I don't even have to get on a plane. I can drive everywhere. And I'm gonna be absolutely honest with you guys. If where I want to go is within driving distance, I will drive. If it's like an 8-hour drive, I won't fly because I don't mind driving, and I'm not going to spend that kind of money just to fly when I could just drive. I'm just that person. So if it is within driving distance, reasonable driving distance for me, I will drive. But if I were to fully give up and say, this is who I am, it's never going to change, I would never fly. I would always drive. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to miss out on this life. I don't want to miss out on this world. I don't want to miss out on things with my kids and my husband, or have them miss out on experiences in this life because I don't want to fly. I've never been to Europe, but we want to go eventually. I've never been to Africa, and I want to go eventually. I've never been to Australia, and I want to go eventually. And we won't experience those things if I were to give up. But I can surrender to my now. I can surrender to what is coming, what I'm experiencing. as I continue the process of healing and as I continue to make the choices that I make that guide me where I'm going in life. I hope that this helped you today. And again, if this is your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe and also hit that bell notification so that you never miss out on a future video. And if you know of somebody that could use this video, please share it with them and continue to help us grow this community. Also, down below, I'm going to have a link for a free 30-minute session with me. I would love to talk to you guys. If you have a fear, something that's holding you back in life, something that you find, like my fear of flying, that could potentially get in the way of major or minor experiences in life, let's have a call. Let's work through it together. So go ahead and click that in the description. I love you all so much, and I'll see you next time.